the Total Geek Podcast. My name is Sean Bartley, and I'm here with my friends
Leo
Harris.
We are here to talk about everything that's going on in the comic book world this week. Comics, movies, everything related to geek culture, we're here to discuss. And this has actually been a pretty big news week, I would say. We've got some interesting rumors, including Brian Cranston as Lex Luthor.
Yeah, it's not a bad choice at all. Like, for him to be Lex Luthor may have not been a person that I would have picked right off the top of my head, but I would. It's still a rumor. It's not completely confirmed or been denied, but I don't really have a problem with it.
It's an interesting choice. That's for sure. He's a bit older. I thought they might cast somebody younger, but it's a good choice, I guess. He certainly has the pedigree.
It opens up a lot of questions. First, I want to make very clear that this is a rumor. It's unfounded. It's not been confirmed nor denied. But there are some weird things that do come with this sort of pseudo announcement. In that the article, which is by Cosmic Book News, claims that Brian Cranston has been signed to appear 13 times, as many as 13 times as Lex Luthor, along with Ben Affleck appearing 10 times as Batman. Sorry, I believe those were the numbers. Brian Cranston is a 56-year-old man. So exactly how long can he be Lex Luthor? So that's just one of the many issues that I have with this article. As far as him being Lex, sure, why not? It does sort of throw out of the window a lot of things we know about Superman, such as the relationship between Superman and Lex Luthor when they were younger. But maybe it doesn't. We don't actually know everything about Superman in this world and what happened to him when he was a kid. So they could have easily been friends.
Yeah, well, again, like I said before in the previous podcast, I haven't not watched the Superman movie, so I don't know how much that plays into it.
Right.
Is there any foreshadowing in that in the
No,
movie? You guys
not
saw
at
it,
all.
No.
So the way they might approach it is completely ignore the canon history between Lex Luthor and Clark Kent. And if they do that, then I can see why they will cast an older Lex Luthor. Again, they're casting an older Batman and Ben Affleck. So it might have to do something with the story that they're trying to tell in the second movie. But without any real specific details or what is it that they're trying to do with these characters, it's hard to sit here and speculate. But for the choice that it is, it's a very interesting choice. Sure. It seems like right now Marvel and DC are fighting for pedigree. Actors with a sort of pedigree.
Yeah.
Whether it's Emmys or Grammys or whatever it is, awards that they are given. But they're very going for actors that have established themselves in the acting industry.
Sure.
Other than that, I don't see why not. And hey, go forth, my child.
Do we have any picks that we would have preferred as Lex?
Not on the top of my head. Maybe I don't know. What do you think, Harris?
Jason Isaacs.
That's okay.
Like, if people don't know him, he was in the Harry Potter movies. He was also a bad guy in The Patriot.
How about Robert Fiennes?
Ralph Fiennes?
Yeah.
No.
Too British.
Yeah. The way that he looks, it wouldn't.
Well,
fit.
they cast Batman as Ben Affleck, so right now I don't care how they look.
No. Even how he acts and the inflection and how he uses his voice, even trying to use an American accent, it usually does not come across very well. Mm-hmm. Isaacs has more experience doing that than he does. Okay, way more experience.
Well, this sort of shatters my dreams of Brian Cranston as Jim Gordon. I always personally believe he would have been the perfect Jim Gordon. So that's dead now. That being said, I honestly have no preference in terms of who plays Lex Luthor. I'm fine with this choice if it actually ends up being a real thing. I don't know. I don't really react too much to casting decisions.
So you didn't really think of anybody, like even like Michael Rosenbaum, even though that show like died after he bounced.
A lot of people were pulling for him to return as Lex Luthor, but then again, he might be a little too young for what they're going for.
Well, that's the thing. We don't actually know why they chose him. They could be going for an older, more mature Lex who's maybe bidding for president and using this as a platform. We don't know.
But
right?
but we what we do know is that there are hiring actors at a certain age.
Yeah.
So that pretty much tells us where the storyline might differ from previous movies.
Well, Ben Affleck is old. Well, let's not. He's older. How old is he? Like 30?
He's 45.
He's 45?
Yeah, he's in his 40s.
Wow.
45.
Okay.
Remember,
he's not that far away from the other guy's 56.
Brian Cranston.
Yeah.
Well, even then, I mean, he doesn't look 45. I've not thought of him as a 45-year-old man.
I might be wrong, but he might.
He's in his 40s.
45.
He's a little bit older than Matt Damon.
We'll Google it and let you know. But he's around there.
Even however old he is, I think that he looks younger than he is.
Yeah, well, he does.
And so he could actually end up playing a mid-30s Batman, which isn't actually all that old. That's typically how I think of Batman.
Well, I think not only he doesn't look older, but also I think in the once you see him in the movie, they probably do some sort of makeup job to make him look scarred and older and more in tune to the vision that they're trying to accomplish for this movie. So maybe that's why they cast him. He's the right age, but he doesn't really look like. Remember, he has to be a charming, debonair, handsome Bruce Wayne anyway. So maybe that's why they went for the whole pretty boy look maybe in his part.
Yeah, right. I mean, he's 41 years old, by the way.
Oh, 41. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry I gave you 4 years.
Still doesn't look like it either. But
he doesn't look like he's 41. Then again, I don't look like I'm 30.
Right.
All right.
That's because you're not 30.
No. But I don't look it either, so I wasn't lying.
We don't know. We don't know a lot of things. We don't know what type of Bruce
We're very
Wayne they're
ignorant
looking
people
for.
here.
Well, there's a lot of we're being kept far from the information.
Yes.
DC's holding this very close to the chest. So it's hard to say.
I called DC and they never called me back, bastards.
I think it's a good thing that they're keeping information to themselves.
Yeah, very good.
I guess. I'm interested in knowing what they're planning, but we don't know, so it's very difficult to speculate. I think with anyone that they cast in the role of Lex Luthor, that's a totally different story that can be told. What I'm comfortable with is that they seem to have a vision, because if you think about it, the way that Man of Steel ended, and actually Zack Snyder was recently interviewed and he commented on it with, the third act really having a lot of destruction and carnage and whatnot. His response to that was, in terms of why he chose to do that, was that Superman is the closest thing that we have left to mythology and sort of Greek myth, and there was a lot of that in those stories. So he felt Superman was a character who really allowed that sort of thing. Now, you can understand that Lex Luthor coming into the frame now, no matter what his reasoning is, his ulterior motive, he definitely has a gripe with Superman.
Very Christopher Nolan from Snyder's part.
Yeah. I like that they went that road, and it also makes a lot of sense as to why Batman is coming into the picture.
Yeah, there was a point in the past where also Grant Morrison made reference to the GLA being kind of like the old gods, the myth, mythological kind of thing of that.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, seeing old Snidey is learning from Mr. Krister.
What I'm thinking is that, like you said, third act, a lot of destruction. Them playing out how Lex Luthor is going to be introduced, having Batman also there. Apparently, if it's a real, truly versus, or it's just like, oh, they get to fight each other, then they team up one way or another. The only way that I think, the only way that I think of it is just that it may be just that after everything that's happened, people get that very xenophobic type of thing, like, oh, they don't want anything alien or anything that seems fantastic. They could use that as a driving point, because it'd be like, look, this guy revealed himself. They went after him because he's hiding. It now becomes a huge witch hunt. So that'll be really interesting to follow up on.
Yeah.
Very true.
And Batman always been not against aliens or anything like that, but he always been very guarded when it comes to other superheroes and the power that they will.
Sure.
Just in case they turn against humanity, he always has these plans and these fail safes to combat or neutralize these superhuman beings that come down from the heavens or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That they put out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that makes it a really interesting thing that they're pairing Superman with Batman so early, because it really establishes Batman's paranoia. They're going right into it. They're wasting no time.
And if there's two humans that will do anything to find out about Superman in this world, will be the Batman or Bruce Wayne, but more Batman and Lex Luthor.
Sure.
So it makes sense to have them react to the presence of Superman being in the real world.
And, if you want to take the speculation a little bit further, you could almost assume that, in the same way that Thor sort of was the first alien that humanity was introduced to in the Avengers universe that Marvel has going on now, and how the reaction to that was to start creating these weapons via the Cosmic Cube and etc. Superman appearing in the DC universe sort of creates this air of paranoia and a need for humanity to raise the stakes, to become prepared. And Batman, as we all know, paranoid as he is in the comic book world, has a plan to take down every member of the Justice League. So going forward, this is the start of his paranoia and the start of his wanting to be prepared to deal with any threat. And when we start to see Wonder Woman, when we start to see The Flash, this could lead to what was that storyline where Batman was a Tower of Babel? Yeah, this could lead to something like that for them.
A great story.
And so I love them planting those sorts of seeds now as we begin, because it shows that they have a clear vision of what's going to happen going forward. I could be totally wrong, and they could be just.
Well, I think that sounds. And also, they might show like a desperate Batman. I mean, this is an opponent or something that Batman has never seen before.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, and that's another thing. We don't actually know what Batman's experience level is at this point. Well, obviously, he's going to be about mid-30s. Has he had a Robin? Has he have any of them died?
I don't think so. Like, if they're really going to do that, adding way too many, extra things will make it too convoluted, and then people are going to lose interest.
They have actually said that they wanted him to represent an actual experienced older crime fighter to kind of like mentor or show Superman. I wouldn't say the ropes, but I guess kind of like. I guess in the end, if the movie establishes anything, is that Superman is going to learn how to be maybe more inconspicuous. There you go, and learn more from Batman of how to approach things a different way. Then that seems like what they're trying to set him up as an older veteran crime fighter who's been doing it for a while.
Right.
That's why they want him to be older than the current actor playing Superman.
Got you.
But
so you're saying that he's gonna have him by leading by example, how to instill a certain set of ethics and be more self-aware of what he's doing. Because come on, he's a guy of great power. Yes, it caused a lot of destruction, but he has to be more aware of what he's doing. Just a simple thing of just like, I don't know, like throwing a car or something has ramifications.
Well, yeah, or maybe it's hard for me to talk about this because I did not get to watch the Superman movie, but it might be more like of Batman showing Superman like, well, listen, they're humans and crime, and humans think a different way. There might be a different way to approach instead of falling from the sky and obliterating 3 blocks. You maybe you learn more by listening to where they're going, where is the source of the crime, and attacking it that way. So that may be an approach that they go for. I don't know.
Well,
we're pulling at straws here.
That's interesting because Superman hasn't really been confronted with the sort of negative aspects of humanity, in the sense that he's not dealt with crime. In terms of this movie world, we've not seen him deal with crime. We've not seen him deal with corruption.
Let me ask you something. In the Superman movie, is he Clark Kent the reporter?
No.
So that might play into that. Might be also saying like, listen, you need an identity
Right.
to, you need a double identity. You need to be somebody else. You
Well,
need to gather information a different way. You need to approach crime and humanity a different way. And that's the angle that's what Batman could show Clark Kent or Superman to be.
however, you didn't see the movie, so spoilers. At the end of the movie, he is Clark Kent as a reporter.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So disregard those comments then.
Just letting you know, some of the things do make sense,
Yeah.
but it's only right there. I think that could be starting off from there, like not too far from there.
Yeah.
He's just starting as a reporter. He doesn't know everything there. Because remember, and in the movie, I'm not saying only had one focus to find out information about himself.
Okay. Well, if that wasn't the case, then they could have approached it that way. But
That's not true, though. He was very interested in helping people and doing the right thing. And that was a huge conflict in the movie.
Yeah.
that sounds like Superman.
Yeah.
I know, but I think he was interested in helping because it was something that happened to him along the way.
No, he was very actively trying to save people. His father actually confronted him about doing that. And that's
I remember that scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was in the trailer.
right.
And don't pull out your neck for nobody.
Right.
But don't show your power or something like that.
Keep yourself hidden.
Right.
Exactly.
It wasn't as overt in terms of him helping people as him, saving cats from trees and helping old ladies across the street. But he definitely had it inside of him to care for humanity. And spoilers. In the end, when Zod is threatening the civilians with his I-beams, Superman has to choose between Zod's life and the lives of these humans. And again, spoilers, he chooses to kill Zod to save these people.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just ruined the whole movie for you, Leo.
It's fine.
But I think that goes a long way in showing
I like that, actually.
what this Superman is willing to do for humans.
And that's interesting because then Batman has a policy of not killing.
Right.
And that, if again, what you said seems like he did it under the most stressful circumstance. He had to make a choice.
He did.
So he did, and correctly, he did the right choice. Obviously, by saving the innocent people that were being threatened by Saw. But maybe this Bruce Wayne doesn't think that way. Maybe he thinks you're so powerful, you could have found a different way to done it. You didn't need to have to execute him or kill him at the spot or whatever the way he did it. So, again, we don't know. But let's see how far they take this Batman. Maybe this Batman doesn't have the original Batman killed. In the original story, he didn't have no quandars at all.
And had guns.
Taking lives. So maybe they go with that version. But until we don't see it, hard to tell.
I mean, just to me, I would assume that they're going to go with a more recognizable Batman that doesn't kill or anything like that. It remains to be seen, of course. They could do anything that they want, but I think that they've set the stage for something extremely interesting going forward. I really do. And this is just two heroes. What happens when you involve the Flash coming up? Correct. What happens when you involve Wonder Woman? So there's a lot of variables, and it's extremely interesting.
And that actually, I mean, I think that's wow for DC to do that and to do it with that character. That really, I mean, that really surprises me. We really haven't seen any. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I might be. I think I am. I don't think I remember a Marvel character killing a villain straight out in a Marvel movie. The recent ones, the ones that tied out Thor, or am I wrong?
Well, as far as I can remember, with the exception of Loki, every single villain that the Marvel heroes have fought has died.
By their hands? At their hands?
Essentially. I mean, Ironmonger was killed by Iron Man in part 1.
Whiplash was killed.
Whiplash was killed by Iron Man and War Machine in part 2.
Not much of a choice, but
right. Cap killed Red Skull, even though we know he's not dead.
Yeah.
Because he always comes back.
Yeah. Did they did it intentionally though, like they did with Superman? Like
no, it was very different. It was very.
That's
different.
what I'm saying. In tone, it seems like it's very different. Just by hearing you say that, it just sounds very different in tone.
Yeah, Superman was a lot more deliberate.
Correct.
Marvel is kind of
say.
foreshadowing. Like, you don't even know if, like, how he's gonna come back. Like, if you haven't seen Avengers, I'm sorry, this isn't really a spoiler. It's already been long enough.
Been long enough.
He held the cube, and you see him dematerialize. But you can interpret that
What are you talking about?
in Captain America.
You said Avengers.
Oh, sorry, Captain America. I'm sorry, I'm fried. But he holds the cube. He dematerializes, but the way that you can look at it, he was actually being teleported somewhere.
Exactly. All right. So.
But yeah, I definitely agree in terms of the tone. What I really love about this new universe is that everything that's happened so far, granted we've only had the one movie, seems to mean something. There's a lot of weight behind actions and events in this world. So the idea of just one more hero being added to the fray is so enticing because there's gonna be weight to it. You know,
this is one thing that I just thought of right now. But seeing how we just speculated about Batman, Superman, you know, the aftermath, and you have both Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor trying to find, you know, that we think about. Do you really think we actually need more than one villain in that movie?
In Batman, Superman? Yeah, I do.
How so?
Because I for one am sick to death of Lex Luthor as a villain, and he is not a physical threat for Superman.
Yeah,
Part one
think so.
established that this is a Superman who is willing to fight and is willing to kill for what he believes in. If he does not have a threat that can physically match him, then that is a movie that I'm not interested in. I don't care who else is in it.
Yeah, I think Lex Luthor's set up more to be inadvertently Bruce Wayne's antagonist in the movie. He's gonna be Superman's main, I think, the brains behind it. But mostly, I think he's more they'll match him more with Bruce Wayne.
Matching wits and such.
Exactly.
Right.
Or physically as a human.
Right. Building on that, who would you pick
For
to be the threat? To be the physical threat?
They took away the kryptonite, right? In the movie, there's no kryptonite in
No, it wasn't even mentioned.
So
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. So you cannot use Metallo, which would have been a very interesting choice because you have technology. You have Lex Luthor with LexCorp and all that, so you could have used that. Maybe the Parasite. Maybe an interesting choice as a
That could work.
Parasite.
Because the great thing about Superman is that, hey, it's a new guy. He hasn't faced aside from his own race, he hasn't faced other super people. So he could be completely disarmed. This guy could just touch him and he'll be like, you're not going to do anything. And then he just gets messed up because he's unguarded.
Or you can have the Parasite touch Bruce Wayne and have his wits, his
I would not do
skill,
that.
Hand-to-hand combat kind of thing.
I would never do that.
Well, you wouldn't do it, but you're not writing it.
No, it's just because the Parasite, he also takes your memories. Oh, I know who you are.
Well, that could play into the story. Why not? If he touches Superman, he'll know who Superman is anyway. So why not know who Bruce Wayne is?
Yeah. I'm gonna admit firsthand that I'm not a huge fan of Superman, at least prior to the Man of Steel. So, and I don't particularly love his rogues gallery, so I don't know that there are too many great options.
Agreed.
But I think that with that being said, there are many roads they could go down in terms of who the actual physical villain is going to be, and then they also may decide they don't need one. I guess, you know, we'll see. But I kind of want to table this discussion because there's so much more casting news. We've got
interesting choice again. I don't remember James Spader's voice that well. I guess they cast him as a voice actor.
Yeah.
And I don't recall the history of Ultron that well to know if he'll need to be. Ultron was never human.
Oh no.
So that probably, again, I like the casting choice. It sounds very inspiring. Sounds very interesting. But again, until we don't see anything in the trailer or how or in what manner he's going to be used as an actor. Again, Ultron is a robot, so there's not a lot of facial expressions that he has or anything like that. So maybe most of the acting he's going to do is going to be with his voice. So let's see. I mean, I like it. I don't see why not.
Right.
I have no objections to it. I think it's a great casting, especially. I don't think it's anything physical. It's just a voice. He has a great way to deliver. I remember him from many different roles that he's done. from many different roles he's done, and I think it's a great choice. From the top of my head, I don't think of many people that you would cast as a voice actor to be Ultron and come out to be.
Yeah, that's tricky because we've never heard Ultron.
Right. Yeah.
Unless you heard it in the cartoons, and I never watched the Avengers cartoons, so I don't remember how he was portrayed vocally in a cartoon show. I mean, he'll probably run into so many filters and so many special effects in the voices that he might not even sound like James Spader at the end.
Yeah,
Sure.
I mean, we really don't know what they're going for with Ultron's voice.
Yeah.
So,
But a very inspiring choice by Marvel and casting him.
Sure. Also, the rumor, again from Cosmic Book News, that Matt Damon...
Those guys got to nail it down.
All right. Matt Damon as either Aquaman or Martian Manhunter. He's been approached, not necessarily cast. So.
That was me killing myself off screen.
Why do you have such a problem with Matt Damon?
If anybody listens to all the podcasts together, will hear me ranting about this. I told you guys Matt Damon's going to show up somehow. I don't know why, but if Ben Affleck is involved in anything, goddamn Matt Damon has to be there. I just think that you have so many choices, so many actors, so many people that work in Hollywood. Why you have to keep going to these same guys? I mean, who's next? Marky Mark is going to be on the DC movie too? I mean, what's his name? Mark Wahlberg?
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Be more inspiring. Inspire me.
I have no issue with the idea of Matt Damon as Aquaman, but
really?
not at all. As Martian Manhunter, I don't really see
not
it.
that Aquaman's not even that short.
Well, that can be dealt with. That's not.
Yeah,
We'll give him the James Martin team.
But Martian Manhunter, come on. I don't think he's a great actor, but I don't see him pulling it off.
I actually see him more as a Martian Manhunter. It explains why he's there.
Isn't Martian Manhunter black? First of all,
no,
he's a shapeshifter.
They constantly change what he is,
he could be anything.
He could be a white guy, he could be a black guy, but
he
they
could
always
be Matt Damon. For all we know already.
He already lives among us.
Well, that's why it's such an aspiring choice to put Matt Damon as Martian Manhunter. This is the only explanation. Bet you Ben Affleck is also fucking Martian.
right?
So someone found out the truth.
Finally.
So, another one of those rumors that we don't know for sure either way. Don't really have too much to say about that, I guess. Although I would be fine with him as Aquaman. Yeah.
So hopefully he drowns in the world too. He really drowns it.
Wow.
That's pretty terrible.
Bad joke. File it.
We also have Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, the voice of Rocket Raccoon.
That I don't understand at all.
I'm just like,
I don't understand. Again, another character I've never heard, either in cartoons or in my head anyway. When I'm reading him, I don't even know how he was supposed to sound. Is he supposed to sound like a raccoon? I mean, he is a raccoon, but does he have a squealy voice? Is he? I don't know what a raccoon will sound like. So Bradley Cooper has a. I don't know.
Rocket Raccoon. From
Raccoon.
what I read, uses a lot of slang and stuff like that.
Okay, well, Bradley. I don't know. Bradley Cooper. I guess. Again, it's hard to say. We don't know what we're until we don't see anything. It's kind of hard to. So.
Yeah, that's just more casting news.
Yeah,
that
more.
Is sort
more
of
that.
Yeah. I'm intrigued by it, I guess, because I don't really know what to expect so much. As you said, Rocket Raccoon is not a character that I've heard much of in terms of his voice. There's a game called Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which he is in, and you do hear his voice there.
Okay. Comparing that, because that's the only thing you have to talk as a reference point. So going with that, does Bradley Cooper sounds like a choice for you?
No,
like an inspiring choice, or
not. It doesn't necessarily sound like that's. I don't think of Bradley Cooper and go, "Oh, that's Rocket Raccoon's voice." But then again, that's not really a voice that's defined that well. When you think about someone like
they got a lot of leisure too.
When you think about someone like Megatron or something like that, then it's like, okay, great, yeah, I know what he should sound like. But Rocket Raccoon is, a raccoon.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. But it's interesting they took such a well-known actor again. It's kind of they keep getting these well-known actors, and it's kind of like empty the ante. Like, all right, now who can you get?
Right.
You know, and I guess that's why we have these odd and casting roles and odd rumors about Matt Damon.
Always goes back to Matt Damon.
It always comes back to Matt Damon.
You're secretly in love with him, aren't you?
No,
I think that may be the case.
He couldn't handle me.
Wow. So, yeah, I mean that's pretty much all that has happened this week in the news. It's been an interesting week in terms of the casting and everything. And
there's a lot. I guess we're gonna have a lot of weeks like this.
Yeah, because there's a lot of movies that need
a lot of movies coming out. Yeah,
right. So that's pretty much it for the movie side of things. Last week we talked about events and event fatigue and things of that nature, and off the heels of that, we have not the announcement because I guess we knew it was coming, but now the reality of X-Men Battle of the Atom beginning next month, I believe, in the month of September. An X-Men event that's going to run alongside Infinity when the second issue of Infinity hasn't even launched, if I'm correct on that. So
yeah, you're correct.
Yeah.
I believe so.
So now
we're into Infinity right now.
Right.
Issue 1 just came out.
Right. It just kicked off, and now we've got this other event, and I guess it sort of assumes, well, if you're an X-Men fan, you have this, and if you're an Avengers fan, you have that. But
does it do well for the Marvel universe or the Marvel reading fan as in general? Right.
I mean, now essentially the entire Marvel universe is in one event or another, and if you're a fan of either group, you're probably going to have to read something about either event. How do you guys feel about that?
They do have a book together.
Uncanny Avengers, yes.
Correct. So maybe that's why those two franchises in Marvel are having these events, which is the opposed DC, which is only running one event.
Right, Trinity War, which actually just wrapped up.
Which is only one, and it was wrapped pretty quickly. Unfortunately, again, issues with my local comic book store with Diamond Distribution. I did not get to read the last chapter of Trinity War, but compared to what it seems to be the events coming forward from Marvel, it was wrapped pretty quickly for an event in DC. I mean, 6 issues with such a large cast of characters, and it was done in 6 issues.
Well, not only was it done in 6 issues, but it was spread across 3 different books.
Yeah.
So that's an extremely quick event, and just for me, I know there are some people who enjoy that sort of rapid fire week to week event. I prefer mine drawn over the course of months. So a 6-issue event for me should be 6 months long.
Yeah.
My take on it with Marvel having both of these events simultaneously is that I just want to know how it's going to be handled because they're both happening at the same time, more or less. Even though some books, by experience, they don't run the same type of time frame. But the thing is, you're having them both come out at the same time, so one way or another, one is going to, in another book, it may mention it, or it may affect a different book, or it may affect that book at all, this event at all, what's happening in Infinity, and my issue is just how they're going to do it chronologically, how it's going to affect each other chronologically.
Well, go ahead, Leo. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I've just started reading the Avengers series. I think I'm up to issue 9 or something like that. And I did read Infinity. I have not. I don't even know what the event of X-Men has to do. But the Avengers seems to be like off Earth, very spacey, kind of like an event, very cosmic. Well, I think X-Men is more grounded, right, in Earth. It's more down to their side of it.
Yeah. It's gonna be some time travel, some dystopian future.
So that's how they handle it. It might not have nothing to do with even run into the whole Avengers thing.
Yeah, I don't really see too much cross-pollination there, and in terms of the chronology of it, I long ago stopped
worrying about
overthinking that. And it's not because it's not something that you would think about, but because Marvel nor DC are ever actually going to make things fit, because they don't have to, you know?
Yeah, well, the good thing about DC about that they always had was that DC, each main character had their own city. You got Flash in Star City, Batman was in Gotham, Superman was in Metropolis. The problem Marvel always ran into was that they had the Fantastic Four in downtown. They had Avengers mansion somewhere in Connecticut, or was that the X-Men?
That's the X-Men.
X-Men, yeah.
You had Peter Parker running around New York City. So whenever the Avengers got attacked or the Fantastic Four got attacked, you were like, where's Spider-Man? Or where's the Avengers? Or where are the Fantastic Four? So a lot of times what they used to do, which was funny, we also, back in the days in the comic books, we used to laugh about, because whenever we used to hear an event that the Avengers were going to be attacked, we were like, well, I guess the Fantastic Four are going to be shipped off to space pretty soon. Yeah. So you kind of knew already that for the duration of the Avengers event, for some reason, magically the Fantastic Four were going to end up in another dimension. And this is true. I mean, you can, if you read the comics when they came out back in the days,
I remember
somehow, some way, the Fantastic Four were chipped out to some dimension. And Spider-Man had chicks problems, and he couldn't. It was funny. It's like, or the Avengers were down in the sewers, or they were in the Savage Land. But conveniently, everybody took a vacation on that.
Yeah, I mean that's actually pretty funny, but I don't. I think of it like this: Captain America, Dimension Z. I don't know if anybody's reading that. Either of you guys?
No.
But in this storyline, he's been gone from the Marvel Universe for like, I think it's 12 years, something like that. Obviously,
wasn't he dead?
No,
Captain America.
I mean, that's years ago, Leo.
Oh, okay.
You know.
Yeah, you're
way behind. You know that he hasn't actually been gone for 12 years from the Marvel Universe. He obviously was probably gone for no more than a week.
But he's in the Avengers.
He's not referenced it anywhere. So it makes you wonder, well, what happened to all of that? We know he'll reference it after the fact. We know that these things are taking place concurrently, but they can't address it because if they were actually going to have everything in chronological order that fit neatly, we would never read comic books because they would need to sit in a room all week and just hammer all these things out.
So what are you saying, that in my 30 years of reading comics, Marvel has not changed?
No, and they never will.
Captain America mysterious disappeared while something happened.
Someone's on his lunch break for 12 issues.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a reader of the Avengers and I'm a reader of the X-Men. So I'm certainly going to be now required, because I believe that Battle of the Atom is going to encompass all of the X-Men books. I'm going to have to buy a few that I don't read. I believe Wolverine and the X-Men will cross over, so I'm going to buy that one now. And it's fine, I guess, as an X-Men fan, but now there's two events. So now I got to read New Avengers and Avengers and Infinity.
Marvel loves you, but your wallet hates you.
Right. So it's a lot on the wallet of somebody who may not be prepared for something like that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Simply can't afford it. That said, I'm still okay with it. with it.
Yeah. Good thing for us that there's so many great books out there and we can pick and choose. But if you want to follow a storyline through, or you want to follow, you've been reading a certain series for a lot of years and you want to keep following, it really does put a strain on you financially if you got to follow all these events.
Right.
So I mean, if you can do it, then great. If you can't, then you got to pick and choose. I really, will be honest, I've been picking a lot of stuff just for the podcast. Probably if not for the podcast, I wouldn't even pick it up. But I liked it. I mean, a lot of the books have been very good. So I've been pleasantly surprised. You can never complain about buying too many comic books, so that's good.
As long as they're good.
Even if, they always have some redeeming quality. Well, sometimes, most of them. If you get bad writing and bad art, then at least you don't have to buy toilet paper the next week.
That's blasphemy.
Wow.
Oh no, that's not. But for the most part, all the books that I've been picking up have been very interesting. The Avengers thing, the Avengers series that I just got to read, thanks to you, Sean. I thank you for that. It's been very good. I was surprised they use an old story method, which is the Avengers expand, because the threat now is universal in the first few issues. And I'm not gonna spoil anything because I guess this has been out for a few times, for a long time. The Avengers series when it first started.
Sure.
The current one.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The current one. I was surprised when I read it that the main core Avengers go out and they fight this guy. They get taken, right? And the Hulk has his right. It always happens to the Hulk. The Hulk gets taken over. And and then the Captain America goes back to Earth. He has to get new Avengers. So that's very reminiscent of the X-Men.
Yeah, right.
When they did that, and they were also trapped like in an island. And,
yes.
And now the Avengers were trapped by flora and fauna. And now these guys that just took out Thor, Iron Man, I mean the main Avengers. Now they also have the Hulk. Now you get these, I wouldn't call them second graders, but these now well-established Marvel characters, and they go back and they fight these dudes that just took out the main Avengers plus the Hulk, and they succeed. So, but it was very reminiscent of the X-Men. So now that we were talking about both universe running events and stuff like that, I found that funny that it was very reminiscent of that storyline back in that day. That's my review of the Avengers so far. Hopefully it'll get better.
I honestly didn't pick up any books, but I did read what you read. You say that they're B class, second grade. They're only ancillary characters, but the only person I see there that I even recognized right off the top of my head was Hyperion.
Yeah, he's from the Squadron Supreme, right? Is that
Squadron
Hyperion?
Supreme? Yeah.
Okay.
And he's like nothing to scoff at. That's a dude.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. I'm not saying power rise. I'm just saying recognizable. Like you take out the main Avenger characters out, the heavy hitters. It's like taking out the GLA, the 7 characters that form the core of the GLA, and then coming back and beating the guy with Vibe or somebody like that. And
who the hell is that?
And to make it worse, they take over the Hulk, and to make it
That's
even
nothing
stronger, the group and these guys. We were supposed to believe that these guys take him. I mean, I have nothing wrong with that. I've seen heroes rise up against the challenge, but it was a little too easy, I think, for me on that, and that's my review of that.
Well, I'm a little more up to date with the Avengers title, and one issue that has sort of been recurring for me is that the Avengers seem very disposable in the sense that in the most recent few issues, AIM sort of lets this robot loose. I believe it's a robot. I'm not even clear on that. I'm pretty sure it is. And within panels, this robot dispatches all the Avengers. They're all done. Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, they all get torn apart.
That must be one powerful.
Yeah,
right.
I would have a problem with that.
And then, of course, the Ex Nihilo Void Battle, the same thing happens. And, of course, then this new batch of Avengers has the universe on it, and it has all these different characters who... Hyperion, who may or may not have long histories in the Marvel Universe, but they're certainly obscure. And they come and immediately handle any problems that the current Avengers were having. So it's almost like, well, if you have the universe, do you really need these other guys? What is the value of a Captain America in the midst of all these super-powered, not just super-powered, but cosmically, universally powerful
I mean, you have Miss Universe there. Which is in
the universe,
Captain Universe,
Captain Universe, or it used to be a guy when I was younger.
Right,
now he's a girl.
What did they completely change that it doesn't like jump onto a different person once the threat is over?
I think I don't know how they did that currently now, but it used to be that way. It used to be chosen.
Yeah, because I remember Spider-Man was even X-23 was Captain Universe.
But maybe the problem with Avengers is that you guys are writers, so you know this, so give me some input on this. maybe the writer is trying to cram too many things in this run that he's doing. He has some creators. He has some
builders, shapers,
and it's this
machines.
whole galactic. Very. It doesn't even seem like superheroes anymore. It's like I'm reading a very intergalactic. It seems like it should be on the other a series that Marvel has, Guardians of the Galaxy, more than with the Avengers.
Well, the Avengers do have a history in dealing with, space threats and such. What I will say is that, again, I did speak about this before, Jonathan Hickman has been trying to tell stories about builders and shapers and machines and plants and stuff. And I guess that if you hire Jonathan Hickman to write Avengers, this is what he's going to do.
This is what he does.
This is what he does. So
like
no
hiring
one,
Grant Morrison.
Right.
Yeah. He'll be weird.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of surprise that comes with it. My issue is more the fact that these Avengers, the Avengers that we know and love, are very small in comparison to not only the threats that they're facing, but to some of their allies. And Thor is not supposed to be small. So
agreed.
Right. So
he's a god.
Yeah. So I guess
God.
We'll see where it goes with Infinity and such, but my feelings are that once Jonathan Hickman's run is done, those characters will go away, and we'll be left with Cap and Iron Man and Thor.
Yeah, I think,
And the event is the enemies are only going to escalate. So how will we not need Universe and Hyperion and all of these other people? Manifold.
Well, that's what I feel too. I feel like the tone of the series. I think he better off writing Guardians of the Galaxy or something more attuned to what he's trying to do. That whole sci-fi over epically, kind of storyline. To me, Avengers was always about villains, superhero villains against heroes. So, but that's my take on it.
From what you said, Sean, from what you said that, how he's doing all of this and you expect him to do this, and the main prime Avengers, the main ones that we all love, like, my biggest issue that I see is that once he's done, and he's done with this run, it puts such a big burden on the person who comes after, because you said, hey, these characters are now going to go away, you're probably not going to see them anymore. Is like, how you're going to believe them to do anything anymore, because they're getting knocked out lickety split. So it takes away from what they actually are. Thor being a god, most of the time you would think the Hulk will come in last minute, start cleaning house and doing things like that, but now it's just like, oh no, I say a few words and that's it, that's over for you.
Yeah,
well, that's sort of what I was referencing.
Yeah.
It's gonna be down to whoever, unless they start completely fresh and completely ignore that storyline. I mean, with time, people do forget.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking about like what's gonna happen to storylines afterwards.
Yeah, well, I hope you're not that writer.
No, I'm not. If I am, I'll be like, help me, please.
There you go.
I think it's an issue, but at the same time, when that time does come and Jonathan Hickman's run is over, whatever it is that they introduce, we'll probably forget what just happened.
That's usually what happens in comic books.
Yeah. Now the other book that Jonathan Hickman is writing, the other Avengers book, New Avengers. I don't know if you guys have.
I have not picked it up.
Well, in that book, essentially what is going on is that the Illuminati. You guys are aware of the Illuminati.
That I know.
Okay, the Illuminati are stopping some sort of a cataclysmic.
Isn't that a techno group?
The Illuminati? I wouldn't know. I don't listen to that music, but
I was joking, Sean.
Oh, so the Illuminati are trying to stop this universal
cosmic again with a
sort of the death of all things, as it were, and it really fits because these are the people in the Marvel universe who are not necessarily the most powerful in the physical sense, but certainly the brightest and the best that we have, and
therefore Illuminati.
Right, and they are, and it suits them that they would have to deal with these sorts of tasks, especially since they were the holders of the Infinity Gems.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a much more interesting story by my estimation.
Oh, very
than
much more.
the one that's playing out.
Don't
in
they
the
have
core
their own
Avengers.
book?
Yeah, the new Avengers title. That's what I was talking about.
Oh no, but I mean the Illuminati. Do they have their own Illuminati?
New
Oh, you
Avengers.
mean-
New Avengers is their book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing that happens there.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
All right. So that
Oh.
sounds actually a lot more interesting than what's going on with the other titles.
Definitely.
Then again, we have to let the man do his run, and then. But so far, yeah, his tone for the Avengers to me has been off.
Yeah.
With the sci-fi thing,
And I think in issues going forward, that feeling that you have is going to intensify because certain elements get introduced, for example, AIM, that don't make a whole lot of sense until later on. And even now, at the place that I'm at in the book, it's sort of like, okay, builders, shapers, plants, universal things, cosmic things, AIM, not so much. You know what I'm saying? I don't see the correlation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Well, he's going for his thing. I mean,
Yeah.
he's trying all bases. He's going for the RBI, the home run, the triple, and the single. So let's see where he ends up in the
Yeah.
in this whole thing.
Right. So I think we're good. I think we're ready to wrap. Just we've got the YouTube page now to look to.
Yes, you look forward to that. We will find every week. Hopefully, we'll be able to download or put up, should I say, each podcast every week.
Right.
Hopefully, we're aiming. Don't hold me up to that. To do it the next day immediately. The more we do this, obviously, the better we'll get, and the faster we'll be in your homes, and you'll listen to our lovely voices.
Well, what I do want to explain with that is, as you're listening to this podcast, for you guys, this is podcast number 3, and you're going to get 3 podcasts essentially in a row,
Correct.
Potentially all in one day, because of some, snafus and things like that. We are brand new to this, so we're doing our best. But once we get this one out to you, you'll be getting weekly.
Yeah.
shows
Remember, this
from
is
us.
homemade. This is just us being us. Trying to
Grassroots.
Yes. Trying to find our voice in the overcrowded industry that it's unfortunately become comic books. But we are trying. We're doing this out of our own pocket, out of our own kindness of our heart, and we're putting the time away. So hopefully you'll listen to us, enjoy it, and promote us.
So we're going to have the Facebook page. We're going to have our own website. All of these things are coming down the pipe. And, if you like the show, if you like what we're doing, if you are interested in, us going forward, then definitely like and subscribe and, all the different ways that you can show your support for us. This has been the Total Geek Podcast. My name is Sean Bartley.
Leo.
Harris.
And we will see you next time.